Welcome everyone to our Agile Boston virtual event for March 2024. We're very happy that you all are here. And I'm very happy to welcome Alexander Kraus and Andrea Darabos, who are coming to us from Europe. And they have been gracious enough to accept our invitation to present today. A workshop on engaging leadership, or in this case, also engaging your key stakeholders. So we're really excited to hear what they have to say. They will have, this will be an interactive session. There's a Miro board that they're going to be asking us to connect into and work with, and we'll also be doing some breakout sessions as well.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So I'll just jump in and do a screen share. Please try to open that Miro board. We're gonna work with that today.
The link to it is in the Zoom chat. This is obviously an invitation. So if you prefer to just watch today, sit back and relax. You will be able to participate simply by muting and unmuting yourself and talking directly into the mic. So you have two options: being very active or sitting back and observing what's happening on screen.
True. So if you go to that Miro board, you will see like somehow this kind of canvas. With your right mouse click, you mostly in most browsers you can just drag it around, and sometimes with your mouse wheel you can zoom in and out. You can also use a zoom down here in the right corner. And I'm going to show you also like how you can jump from frame to frame. So if you open the frames down here on the left side, then you see like all these frames, and you can just click it and then you zoom to the frame, and they should also be like in the right order, but you can also just follow the screen share here. Yeah. So
and Alex, maybe you bring everyone to yourself on Miro for convenience.
Yeah, that's bring everyone to me. So you should be somehow near me now. Okay, so what we're starting is a warm welcome that already started here. Thanks a lot. We're going to check Miro. We're actually in the middle of that. And then we're going to guide you through the patterns of training from the back of the room. We first want to connect a little bit to the topic, engagement and feedback. Then we're going to share some nuggets about delegation and invitation. Then we're going to practice a little bit, and to make it like tangible. And at the end, we're going to ask for some conclusion and transfer to your daily work. And at the end, we're going to export this Miro board as a PDF and going to share it via the chat here in Zoom. So that's what we're aiming for. That was like the welcome. This is Alex, and that's Andrea. Andrea, do you want to say something about yourself? Oh, you're muted.
I noticed I was muted. So very briefly, I'm Hungarian. I did start as an engineer, software engineer, and eventually became a project manager and later an agile coach, organizational change catalyst. I lived 11 years in the UK, which used to be Europe, but not anymore. So now we specifically need to say Great Britain. And I am moving or starting a new decade, hopefully, in Switzerland. And I will be based in Zurich just in a month's time.
Perfect. Yeah, and me, I'm Alex. I call myself an engagement catalyst. I'm living mostly in Berlin, Germany with my family, but I try to spend like all summer in Sweden. Yeah, compared to the United States, like you just need to drive a few hours in Europe, and then you are in a different country with different culture, different language. And this is also like, I guess you know what we're talking about. Inviting leadership, engagement, empiricism, but maybe when we repeat what you might already know, it might be like through the lens or the perspective of European people. And we hope that's somehow interesting for you. Yeah. So let me put that engagement and feedback into, oh no, we are still at the engagement meter. We wanted to ask the people that are here on the Miro board to maybe grab one of these icons and to feel how much do you want to be engaged within the next, like, say, 50 minutes. Maybe you can drag one of these icons down here to that scale and say like, oh, I have low energy, I will observe only, yeah? Or do you say like, oh, I'm actually with high energy and want to be engaged. And even when we go to breakout sessions, I want to have like some discussion in a small group. So try to feel where you are here on that scale, so that we know, but that also you know how much of engagement you want to bring to this meetup today.
And everything we do is optional today. So play with us if you feel like, as much as you would like. And also in the chat, for those of you who are observing, you are welcome to observe. The temperature feedback is useful to us to say how much to invite you to lean in. So we have some of you in the high scale, fully wanting to participate, talk or exchange. Some of you in the middle, it's lunchtime. You may not have had your lunch yet. We are with you. And some of you are sitting back. I love the popcorn sign. It's okay. When we will invite you to breakout rooms in the second part of today's session, you are in the driving seat if you would like to join, or sit back and stay in the main. If you do join the breakout room, make sure you tell your colleagues or friends in that room how much you would like to and how much you can participate. If you are moving or driving, stay safe.
Okay, so that is done. Let's go to kicking off that topic. So here we go. Andrea.
So engagement is the goal of today's session, but engagement as a follow-up from a fabulous Scrum session that Joe and the meetup colleagues experienced last time. So we would like to connect engagement and engaging leadership style to the context of business agility. And as many of you know, business agility is built on a feedback loop, or a very much a learning-oriented approach called empiricism. So watch for this. How does change management and engaging leadership connect with being empirical, and how this could be helpful in our agile organizations? So here I would like to start with a brief introduction with the Gallup survey, which in fact is an international organization measuring engagement since decades around the world, and looking at their 2023 workplace report. These are the global numbers, so this is not US specific. This is the global engagement numbers. Only 1/5 of us, or 23%, feel that we are thriving at work. This is the number we, Alex, myself, and probably yourself, we would like to improve and increase. The worrying majority is quietly quitting, is disengaged, but not yet changing their jobs, just sitting back and observing, but not quite thriving at work. And there is also a group who is loud quitting. Maybe you have experienced this after the pandemic. Many of us have been choosing to work elsewhere, or some of us have chosen early retirement, certainly in my network. So loud quitting is when we are actively disengaged, we say we had enough and we are moving on. So these are the numbers. We believe we can improve. We can improve them with agility, but only if we introduce agility in the right way. So we would like to define, and this is Alex and I's definition, a draft. Please help us if this resonates. Define what is engaging leadership. We believe it's a leadership style with specific practices and communication structures we can use to create the right conditions. We say the systemic conditions for our colleagues, for each of us to be engaged in our workplace. And because we believe these are specific things we can learn and do, these are things we can develop. We don't expect engaging leadership to be only the job of managers. And the brief mention or advertisement is Alex and I are piloting this session across Europe and also across many other continents. This is our pilot or
Oh, now your internet is breaking, it seems. Are you back, Andrea? You're a little bit shaky on my side, or is it me?
I'm hopefully back.
Ah, okay. Maybe it was me.
Hopefully back. Yes. So give us your feedback, and indeed we would like to establish bridges. Alex, let's move to systemic conditions. What might be those systemic conditions on the right? So imagine this metaphor that we are all practicing engaging leadership. Then we are like creating the right environment for ourselves, our colleagues to thrive at work. So this is like gardening. You can't make the plants grow, but you can create the right nutrients, the water, the sunlight, and improve soil quality. So this is a key message. We believe, this is learnable, but it's very important that we get the environment right. So let's move further. Let's step into our collective intelligence on this call today. What would be the opposite of a thriving workplace environment? What could be leadership behaviors each of us can do to kill engagement? We would like you to brainstorm a few things any of us could do, a few mistakes. What would be the practices that kill engagement? And just share some ideas in the chat. When you are ready to write in a few practices, then they will be coming in. We usually say, we can wait for the signal. Let's say we say chatterfall. Chatterfall is a practice to hit enter when you hear chatterfall.
Oh, it's already coming in.
It's already coming in. I'm reading the chat. Micromanaging, control. Yeah. What else could we be doing? Of course, not noticing people's efforts. Use force to push people. And also not being vulnerable, knowing it all, behavior. Oh, super ideas, very creative. Not allowing for mistakes. Thank you, Lillian. Not being open to data or feedback.
Yeah.
And Joe says also being too caring. We call it the Scrum Mom behavior. Angel Medinilla coined this term when we are too protective. I myself am guilty of that. Certainly. Alex is smiling.
Yeah.
Not allowing to experiment with your colleagues. Oh, super. You are mastering this.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Okay.
You know how to do that.
Thank you, everyone. We will be able to share the chat later on. We can save it and also distribute if you would like. Thank you. So engaging leadership and the importance of feedback. Alex, we will then move on.
Yeah, I updated the task board. So
thank you so much.
Coming to the nuggets.
Okay, so we are back to positive practices or helpful practices to create an engaging environment. And on this list today, we will only go deeper into inviting participation, inviting curiosity, inviting ideas, inviting feedback. So that is just one of the practices. And on this list, you see some other practices that we believe are very important to create this environment. The last one, just to mention one of my recent favorites, it seems that the world is speeding up and expanding exponentially. New technologies are arriving. AI is really exploding. Reflection time and reflection practices, space to think, space to reflect together or individually, could be a very engaging leadership practice in today's age. The question is, are we doing enough of that today, every day, every week? And we have placed these practices into a very simple model, version 0.01. Our model is a simple diagram, a triangle or two triangles. One is divergent situations. Every Agile team, every Scrum Master, and every team in general faces two kind of scenarios. Divergent scenarios are situations when we are expanding the possible. This is where we have multiple options and we are increasing the number of options. One example of that is brainstorming. If we invite people to take part of brainstorming where we don't judge and don't select ideas, we just expand, that can be super engaging. The other aspect of our work today is often convergent. We also have situations or scenarios when selecting from options, making decisions or choices is what is helpful to the team. For example, identifying 3 actions from a retrospective. That could be a way to reduce the options. Here, for example, reflecting together and making decisions are convergent leadership behaviors. Today, the one behavior we have chosen to look into is inviting leadership. So it will be on the left. We see inviting leadership more of a divergent option. So it is creating data for us, and it's creating options for us by inviting people, for example, to a task.
Andrea, a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to define leadership. And
yes.
I want to make a statement. You tell me if it's true. You don't have to have a title of manager, director, VP to be a leader. So when we're saying engage in leadership, it's whether you're a technical leader on your team, if you're a scrum master, if you're a product owner, if you have anything where you have decision rights or authority, then you're a leader. Is that right? Or do you have a different definition?
Absolutely. No, Joe, absolutely. We define leadership as each of our individual sphere of influence, our actions, our voices, our behaviors, everything we do and don't do. We believe that all of us are informal leaders, and on top of informal leadership, our personal influence comes layers of authority and roles that we might be given or we might assign ourselves to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Scrum Masters, if any of you are Scrum Masters, coaches, or leading Agile teams, maybe from another role, our story is about encouraging you to think about how I could apply engaging leadership style or behaviors throughout this session. You know, you were great at negative brainstorming for the opposite behaviors, but how I could apply, for example, today, an inviting leadership style, which will increase participation, ideas, opinions, energy. So it will be a divergent behavior. And that's why we are here today. So we are going to move into the topic with Alex.
Yeah, so for lots of people, this is somehow like an eye-opener to understand the difference between delegation and invitation. Normally, we are used to delegate, and we are like a little bit irritated by invitation. But it's quite good to understand that difference, and we try to always we have like the one example here. When you are at home and you have maybe kids, you want them to set the table. Of course, you can command them, to set the table. You can order, say like you take these plates and you take that and you put it there. So that is like, reducing like a lot, and people might like to think or help or contribute in other ways, and then we lose all that potential, and that happens on the workplace like all the time. On the other hand, you can like start even in your private life practicing more of invitational behavior. So that means you can ask, do you want to join me in the kitchen? Would you like to prepare dinner together with me? Would you maybe even take decisions what we are going to cook tonight? Do you want to cook? Or should I cook, or whatever? Yeah. Do we want to do that together? So that's a really interesting a thing to do, and it opens like so many more options. And when we delegate actually the authority for decision, it still sticks to like the person delegating something, whereas if we issue an invitation, we offer authority to other people. So people are allowed to take authority, and that's just magic. That causes a lot of engagement and motivation, or better to say, it doesn't destroy it, because it is always there. So let's take a look about like that topic of feedback. And that's so important also in agile ways of working, because we want to have a lot of feedback, because feedback is data, and good agile runs on a lot of data and feedback, and good product development runs on a lot of good data and feedback. So if we delegate something, the feedback normally is limited. You know, you get that command from your boss and you say like, oh, damn, I'm already overloaded and now I have to do that. But you keep quiet, you know, there is no feedback, and your boss might not know about your situation, yeah, until you explode, maybe. Yeah. On the other hand, if you issue invitations, actually then all kind of answers are allowed. There, yes, the no, the maybe. Yeah. And that is just feedback. That's just data. And it's up to you to make sense of that. And that means in the moment you send an invitation, the receiver actually has to activate the brain and start thinking, and has to give like some kind of answer. And that answer is data. Yeah. So that means it really maximizes the data we get when working with invitations. Yeah. So yeah, we can jump over this. Let's take a look at the span of authority and the span of responsibility, because that's a big difference. Often we have people like, as we say, like they're silently quitting. They're not giving feedback if something is too much, or if something is like somehow wrong. I have seen software development teams being responsible for quality. And they said, yeah, but we need a new test server to like create more quality. And then the people said, yeah, but you don't have any budget. And we just went through our budget planning for the next year. So you can let us know next year. And then in 1.5 years, you can have your test server. So then there is some kind of authority missing. Yeah. And whenever you send an invitation, people will realize immediately if the span of responsibility that is offered, if it is not covered by a span of authority that fits that responsibility, and then they will say no. So it's a very easy pattern to know, or to get that information that something somehow is wrong. Because if we delegate, we might delegate responsibility, but authority stays central. And then people have problems fulfilling that kind of responsibility. Yeah. So whenever we are not good in like providing the right span of authority, when we do it via an invitation, we immediately get the feedback by people saying no to it. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons for people to opt out, if they feel that some authority is missing. Yeah. So here we have like for you also a definition of authority and responsibility. That's all taken from the book that you hopefully all know already. The Inviting Leadership book by Daniel Messick and Mark Sheffield. These two guys did an amazing work by just like putting that to words. Yeah, if you haven't read that book, you should definitely read it. And here we have some like two more things we took out of that book, and then we're going to jump somehow to practicing. Going to create some small groups and give you the time to craft an invitation. But let's see, why is it like so powerful, or like why is an invitation immediately activating the brains? Yeah, and this is actually what we want with agility. Yeah, to bring doing and thinking together again, and to allow every person to use his or her brain again. Yeah. So you create an invitation, you send it, it says you are invited, and the receiver gets that invitation. So now the brain starts working. Some question marks appear. And here they have like a sequence or some suggestions what might happen. They might ask themselves, what will I experience if I accept that invitation? What will I miss out if I do not accept it? Who else is going? Yeah, who else is definitely not going? Can I clear my schedule for that? What will I learn if I accept? What is it actually okay to opt out? Also, that is a big question in lots of company cultures. Yeah, Is it clear what I'm invited to? Yeah. Also the question, is my boss going to attend that or not? Some people really would like to be closer to their boss. And they say like, oh, my boss is there. I'm going to be there too. That's a great chance to interact with that person. Other people say like, I dislike my boss. If my boss is going to join, I don't want to be part of that. Yeah. So, and then the answer is a yes, a no, or a maybe. And you, as the sender of that invitation, you can take all that feedback, all that data, and can make sense of it. Yeah. And if you wanted people to be in there and they said no, then you can go into conversation and can ask them, like, why couldn't you accept my invitation? What was wrong with it? And then it starts that you can learn, right? So here we have like some things that a well-formed invitation needs. It needs clear goals. What is it that I'm invited to? What is like maybe also the responsibility? What kind of things do we need to fulfill? It needs clear constraints and boundaries. It needs clearly described ways to experience feedback and progress. And of course, it needs the opt-in participation. And this is things that you have to train. If you cannot do something new right if you do it the first time. Yeah. So if you start crafting and working with invitation, you need to practice all this. So let me take a look at the timing. I'm a little bit over it. Okay.
I think some stories are still super useful to put this into
I'm just going to tell you like the one story of a self-selection process for teams. You know, normally like a boss takes a skill matrix, picks some people, like pushes these people into a room, and you put a sign on the door that says team. And then even you push like a development method like Scrum on them and say like, okay, you have to like run this, you have to do this, you get a Scrum Master, you get like a product owner or whatever. None of these people decided to go for that. Yeah. So we have like very, very good experience with team self-selection processes. If you set up the project and say like, we expect these and these skills to be on board. You will you can hand over all your work to other colleagues because you will be freed up and have like the capacity for that project. You're going to get like budget. You're going to get like a room. You're going to get like infrastructure and stuff, whatever. And you're going to do it in a Scrum way. And Scrum is this. Please read the Scrum guide. You're going to get a Scrum Master, whatever. And then who is in for that? Who wants to be part of that? And the people that raise their hand are just going to be the right ones. Yeah. So we have had 20 people, print and implementation managers, that decided for themselves how they want to split up in teams. They also use the Miro board. They draw 4 circles. They put their portraits to the circle. They slept the night over it and felt like, how does it feel to work with these people? Do I want to share knowledge with these people? Do I want to like be productive with these people like the next 12 months? After 2 days, it was stable and everyone was really happy with that. Yeah. So that is things that can happen if you go for invitation. Yeah.
And just one caveat with this story, it's important that people who don't want to for now join teams or join the Scrum experiment, there should be no punishment for not opting in.
Yeah.
So there should be a later time to reissue another invitation in the future, but it's okay to not be part of it, and you should not be punished in any way for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there would be like a story also of a third, or the third story that we have a company in Germany called Premium Cola. They produce a soft drink. And they even include customers and suppliers in decision-making. They invite them because they say like, they belong to that kind of value chain. Why shouldn't they contribute? Yeah. Yeah, Joe.
I wanted to just pick up on what Andrea just said about experimentation. Do you agree that that's really, and maybe you're going to talk about it later, but do you believe that that's a real key to engagement is to pose things as an experiment and invite people to be part of that experiment, but then also to have a clear timeline when people can, give feedback and decide whether they want to continue that experiment or not?
Yeah, I'm just working like with the startup, for example. We're experimenting like setting up new value stream crews. Yeah, and they decide for some kind of work mode. And of course, like we say, like that's all assumptions. When are we going to check? How do we know that we are successful? Yeah, what are we going to talk about it in 1 week or in 2 weeks? Yeah, what kind of feedback can we ask, like from the organization, yeah, to make that good? Like, yeah, it's I would say like being clear about the intention behind it, yeah, and then checking and testing if reality is like compatible with our wishful thinking. Yeah. Yeah, so what we wanted to do with you now is to jump into a short exercise to just craft an invitation by looking at this engagement meter. I'm not quite sure. We have a lot of people that would like to lean back a little bit and listen in. Should we have like 2 or 3 groups to go for that?
My suggestion is to create 3 very large groups from our crew. Maybe 10, 11 people will be invited to each room. If some of you would like to listen in to the group, just give some kind of signal or say it. If there are 2 or 3 of you who would like to actively participate, that's enough. Because what we will invite you to do is actually practice creating an invitation. And you will, as the rooms will open, not yet, but when they open, you will see which room you are in. I can be the bee moving around briefly, just check that you are on track. And once you are in your room, you will be having 10 minutes to craft an invitation to your kind of favorite or best dinner party at home.
Yeah, maybe we're going to make it 9 minutes as we are a little bit over time. But yeah, that's it. Like I think three rooms is good. Then we have some people.
Would you both like, Alexander and Andrea, would you both like to be invited to those rooms and be part of those rooms?
For simplicity, you can do that.
I don't have to. It's an option. I can.
Yeah.
It's totally up to you.
Each of us will need to accept joining a room if we would like to.
Yeah, I think we should not. We should because like then people might feel observed by us.
Yeah, obviously I'm only going to join just for technicalities that you know which room you are in, and then obviously leave you to do it.
Yeah.
So okay. Alex and I won't be in the rooms. Make sure that you look at the helpful guide on what is a good invitation. Effective invitations follow the 4 criteria pasted on Miro below.
So it's going to be 3 rooms. You jump like into the breakout session. You immediately start crafting an invitation, and it is craft an invitation to invite friends to a party at your home. Yeah. Check if all the 4 bullet points of a well-formed invitation are fulfilled and optimize your invitation. So that's what we want to try right now. Jump into it and just practice, and
take notes on Miro.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be opening the rooms now, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you, everyone. And Joe, we may pause the recording here, and then we can restart. We are kicking off in 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, so people are coming back.
Welcome, colleagues. Maybe, Alex, you can just show that we have 2 perfect, very wonderful dinner invitations documented, 2 rooms, room 2 and room 3. Thank you for the examples for a very specific party.
Yeah. But I guess like also room 1, I guess you had a wonderful discussion about how to craft an invitation, just didn't document it. No problem with that. We decided due to the timing, as we like promised to not do it longer than 1 hour, to stay now in the big room and do a debrief, and then also have a short discussion about how to transfer that to your work. So my first question for you would be what was easy and what was hard in your conversations in crafting this invitation? Any voices from the breakout rooms?
I can talk from room number 3. I mean, I just can talk maybe for myself. I think it was great to listen to others and understand what's the different perspective they have. And sometimes when we are at work, we do not give that possibility or do not listen that. And then some of the ideas was like brilliant, great. Why not to consider? Oh yes, I'm in room 3, Mina.
Yeah. Anything else?
You were nominated as a spokesperson.
You've been voluntold.
Well done. Delegated.
Sure.
Thank you.
Anything else to share? What was easy and what was hard about like crafting an invitation?
Like something that maybe was easy was we're starting with the term invitation. Like you're already kind of trying to entice people to come rather than say when you're setting up a meeting, you're almost telling people to come. So you're already in a different kind of mindset there.
Totally.
Seemed like the goal was pretty easy to come up with.
Thank you, Julie. What could be an example for a goal in this context?
Well, to reconnect with our friends from a, sort of host-centric perspective, and then from a service perspective to help our friends increase their circle of acquaintances and meet people they don't know.
Brilliant. And I love how you say, there is a host goal, why we are sending out the invitation. It's a fine line, how transparent we must be about that. Probably the second one, the participant perspective, is definitely the one that goes into writing and situationally, how much we share the organizer's goal. Totally.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe one more example, like what was hard or what was easy?
Something jumped out, again, Mona is talking, sorry. It's just when we were discussing during this conversation, I mean, with our roommate, something came out about the survey. So so for instance, I am meeting like this invitation, I'm going to organize this invitation, right? But then someone had the idea of that. Hey, let's have a survey, like how we want to plan this for them. So we adapt to the feedback that we will get from our invitees through this place. So that was a great idea,
Super.
Because again, I think it's maybe thinking about the users. I put it in a CX way. I just thinking that they're looking through the other lens and see what's really our customers, our end users, they needed, that we can bring it to the table instead of we plan everything by ourselves in advance.
Okay. So participation in a survey might already be data that people are interested to give their input and not yet committed to join. They want to see the results of the survey or the poll and possibly a second, more refined invitation.
Right.
Good. Okay, due to the timing, I would like jump to the next topic. And of course, I'm like updating that task board here. So now it's a little bit about the conclusions from the sessions, how to transfer that. And if you have like 1 or 2 minutes more, then at the end, I'm going to export that Miro board as a PDF and share it in the Zoom chat. Yeah. So let's go here. Transfer to your context.
Exactly. This will be giving you 1 or 2 minutes silently to think about situations, and then we are not going to open breakout rooms, but perhaps we can copy or drop in some post-its into room 1. Here we are all going to stay in this big room, and we would like to invite you to think about specific situations and invitations you could send out at work in the context of introducing or enhancing agility in your organization. What would you do? What could be situations or invitations you send out? It could be as simple as a meeting invitation. And if you have any ideas, take a minute to reflect silently and jot down just a few words on a post-it. So we are here in the conclusion section. And in any of
I would
these
say like
moments.
let's limit it to like 40 seconds, but you grab a post-it and share your ideas how to transfer to your daily work.
And it's okay to also spread out here. Indeed, some colleagues are using the space. That's super. And these, for those of you who would like to edit on Miro, space is open, and then we will, of course, do some verbal sharing.
So maybe we can just use the last 5 minutes for questions. So feel invited to read through these sticky notes, and if you have a question to ask to the author, to understand better what is written there, or if you have a question to like Andrea or me about inviting leadership and generating feedback with that technique, yeah, just ask whatever is on your mind now. No questions at all?
I wanted to pick up on something that Eben had said about, when we're crafting a meeting, we're telling people to join the meeting. And I'm wondering, how could you use invitation, even if you're a Scrum Master and you want people to come to a planning, or you're inviting key stakeholders to come to a sprint preview or a sprint review, or you're a Scrum Master and you want the team to participate in their first retrospective. How could you use invitation versus delegation?
There are flavors in the Agile world that say like no more mandatory meetings, right?
Absolutely.
If people do not come, then it's feedback. Yeah.
But Scrum requires that you have certain events, not meetings, but certain events.
Yeah,
daily
but it
or
also
the
requires
beginning or
that
the end of the
these.
sprint.
Yeah, but it also requires that these events are valuable.
And that the team is committing to Scrum. Maybe not stakeholders and team members not joining Scrum events is empirical feedback you need on the commitment to Scrum. Maybe we are applying a Scrum framework in the wrong place. It's currently not relevant or not resonating with this team.
Maybe you could overemphasize the goal aspect and what you're trying to achieve out of that session so that people can judge, is this worth my time to kind of achieve this goal?
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right, Evan. I think that the most important thing is to, when you're inviting, always emphasize what's in it for them, the people they're inviting. What's the benefit to them? What's the value to them? I think a lot of people that I talk to on Scrum teams, for example, say, I don't understand why we have to have a daily Scrum. I don't get anything out of it. Sometimes I don't even talk, and that's always an indicator to me that, okay, we don't understand the purpose of the event, and maybe we're not executing the event the right way. So that's just maybe an example of using invitation when you're versus delegation when you're explaining to people why it's important for them to be at the event, not just they have to be at the event.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just calling attention to Sarah's point on we could pair up with ChatGPT or any AI intelligence to help us make the invitation more compelling, depending on the target audience and the goal we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and be gentle with yourself if you start trying this. Yeah. So actually, like my first invitations, they sucked, really. Yeah. So, and it is something that I'm still learning. Yeah. So.
And someone witnessing Alex's invitations and still going, and a few people who joined your events, that learning events Alex ran as a learning community of practice about Agile. Events also grow because the word of mouth. If people who joined the invitation got what they expected or even more, then they can spread the word and they can help you make your invitations more compelling. So your first followers and participants can help you rephrase it and really communicate what was valuable to them. Thank you so much.
I would now ask you to look at the Miro board, because I'm going to start exporting it now. If there is anything that feels inconvenient for you to share, then please go to your sticky note, edit it or delete it or whatever. Because when the timer's up, I'm going to stop the screen share and I'm going to export that board and I'm going to share it as a PDF here on the chat.
Thank you, sir. And just very briefly, while if any of you are removing any content that you would like to remove, I will verbally share how you can keep in touch with us. The first invitation is find us on LinkedIn. Alexander Kraus, Andrea Darabos, we would be delighted to connect. We may join one of your sessions very gladly in the future. Would love to stay connected across continents. Also, we have pasted in Miro board that you will receive some area for feedback. You can come back to this board for a while. It will be alive for you. This link will be there for a while. And also you will receive useful resources. In the useful resources section of the Miro board, you will see once more the book, the Inviting Leadership book that we recommend for further reading. It's very practical, and you will also find some examples of invitations and case studies in the book.
Oh.
We also included some other resources. We have a 2-day program, which ideally is meant to be for in-house consumption, in-house context. We would love to work with you if you think you would want to test this program with an invitation to see if it resonates in your community. And last but not least, we also would like to just mention that if you are planning a vacation in Europe this summer, we do have an open space agility workshop that we run in Prague. We would be delighted to meet some of you in person. That's one opportunity, and we will definitely be in touch with Joe, Daniel, and the organizers if we come to Boston sometime soon.
I hope so. That'll be a lot of fun. All right, well, we're